Hello everyone. This is Sabrina, and you're watching another episode of Coffee with Sabrina. And I have a fantastic guest with me today. I cannot wait for him to share a little bit about who he is and what he does. So Saluto, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Sabrina. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I know your drive was a little long out here.
I come here occasionally.
Okay, good. So tell us, me and the audience, a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'll give the elevator pitch and then we can kind of go in a little bit deeper. My name is Saluto Uba. I'm the founder of the Uba Law Group. We are a law firm that's here to help you protect your business and family legacy. So we do that specifically through business formation, LLCs, business entities, keep your business protected. And then we also do intellectual property so you can protect your ideas and you can own the creative things that you create. And then we also do estate planning. That's wills and trusts. So all the things that you've created and protected, you can transition on to the next generation. So that's just a little snapshot of what we do.
Of what you do. Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. So I am a first generation Nigerian American. My parents came here in the early 80s, and so I was born and raised in Houston. And so that was really kind of a big part of my story. So if you know anybody from an immigrant community, come home or come to the country to work hard, go to school, and like get a good job, and then that will be kind of your key to success. So in the Nigerian community, there are three things you could really be growing up. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, or you could be a disgrace to the family. And so because of that, or you could be an engineer. That's also another one.
Oh yes.
So I went to college for engineering. Mind you, I was terrible at math, I was terrible at physics, but the pressure on was just like, you gotta be an engineer or whatever. But I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. My mind was always creating like ways to kind of argue and debate ideas. And so that was my perception of what being a lawyer was. So I transitioned out of the engineering role, even in college, and switched over to a government major, graduated from college in government with a government degree, and then actually did my first year of law school at Howard University in DC.
So you didn't feel pressured when you transferred out because that's something you wanted to do?
Well, I did it with pressure. So that was that. I used some of those debate skills to kind of explain to my friends, no, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to switch to law school. That's why I'm going to get the government degree. Forget about the engineering. It'll be okay. Yeah. We're going to be a lawyer. And the lawyers make good money. Parents are thinking about that. They're a little bit more at ease with the conversation. But yeah, it was, I feel like a lot of things that I've been doing, not just 100% brand new, no one's ever done it, but at least in my context, in my family, I was the first attorney in the family. And so I was blessed to come from a family that really did value education. My mom has a PhD in education. My sister's also a lawyer. Everyone, they're degreed up and all that good stuff. But, using that in a way that is going to be helpful and using that in a way that's going to be impactful for what I felt, I wanted to do with my life was something that I had to kind of step out on and be a little bit brave about. So that's kind of how I started, did my first year of law school at Howard University in DC, finished up here at SMU, graduated from SMU Law. And then along the journey, when I was an undergrad, I met my fiance who would become my wife. She's from Grand Prairie, she's from the DFW area. So I just I guess Dallas is where we're staying.
We're going to stay, yeah.
And so now we operate our law firm. We actually have a virtual law firm out of Mansfield, Texas. So that's kind of how I got to where I am now.
And you say she works with you also,
yes,
both of you run this together.
My wife, and she hates it when I say this because she is a distinguished professional. My wife is Dr. Lola Uba. She is a pharmacist, a retired pharmacist now, who's the director of operations for our law firm. And so she's really humble. She hates when I call her Dr. L.
Well, hey, she earned that degree.
Indeed,
she earned
did.
That. She need, why not?
Indeed, she
why
did.
Not,
and so, I tell people all the time, having a combination of people that have very complementary work styles and strengths is so powerful. So just with the way that her mind is set up, she thinks in business structures and funnels and integrations and systems, and has brought more to the law firm from just a lot of the structure side, which leans into my strengths because I am very relational. I am very network and rapport building and doing things like that. So it's such a great marriage of strengths, literally and figuratively. And so it's just it's a blessing. And then even just being able to work in a way where I have more time for my kids, because even part of my story and how I launched my own law firm, I kind of skipped some things in the middle there, was I did the traditional law firm route. I worked at a downtown firm, and it was great. I had a good experience, but there was a point in time when my wife and I were pregnant with our first son. Mainly my wife was the pregnant one, and I would keep on showing up to my office for about a month straight thinking, my son is coming. If I don't get out now, I'm going to be trapped. I'm going to be trapped. Like trapped in a good way. Yeah. It was just, family responsibility, a child on the way. And I always knew I had an entrepreneurial spirit. And I just kept saying to myself, this is the time to do something. If it works out, great. Even if it doesn't work out, there's no better time to fail than now. And so I retired from the law. I thought I was done entirely with the legal profession. And I actually launched my own real estate investing company. So we were fixing and flipping houses. We were wholesaling. I thought I was done with the legal world. But when you're the lawyer in the community, even after you think you're finished with the law, people still come to you for the legal work. And the one thing I really always love is entrepreneurship. So I started helping people create their businesses, and then we added intellectual property and trademarks, helping people own what they create. And then with the estate planning, it's like the perfect cherry on top. You've created a legacy. Here's how we safely and legally transition it on to the next generation. So that's kind of a snapshot of my life.
So I actually love a couple things. That I am from a different country. Mm-hmm. So my parents migrated here. I was not born here though. Mm-hmm. I was born in a different country. But I love how you explain very briefly all the things you do. Yeah. Because you said some very powerful words. For me, yes, I know you do estate planning and all of that. Yeah. But when you said the word trademark, because that's something I'm needing right now, I thought, oh my God, trademark. Yeah. So just the way you touched on everything you're doing, I love the way that you just kind of briefed on it. Yeah. So I guess right now I would like for us to go into a little bit more on one of those, whichever one you think is most important to the audience right now. Yeah. For me, because of the world I'm in, I'm thinking estate planning, but it may or may not be. So what do you think?
So I'm so glad you brought that in. So I want to make a couple of points, because I talk with business owners all the time and you're able to just talk about all these things so quickly and succinctly. This takes a lot of practice. I remember, and I'm sure okay, I'm going to be in front of people. How do I say what I do in a way that makes sense and doesn't make me sound dumb? Right, yeah. But there's just a lot of intentionality. And I think when it comes to what's going to add a lot of value and what's really a pressing issue for people nowadays, I would agree with you. It would be the estate planning side. And so just to kind of give a general overview, when we're talking about estate planning, people will generally think about a will. One of the things that we emphasize are trusts, because they do similar things but distinct things. And so estate planning is something that we're really, really, really pushing heavy and just trying to communicate and educate about as much as possible to the public at large.
Right. So when you're sitting with a client, if they come to you for estate planning, mm-hmm. where do you start with them? Because it's not just estate planning. Yeah. So much more.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we try to do is just, my biggest deal is, of course, I want someone to be a new client, but I want them to walk away educated about the process. Right. In many instances, people are really ignorant about what happens when you pass away. And there's a part of it that's understandable. Coming from an immigrant household, Nigerian household, we don't talk about death, or that's something we don't say. We won't bring that into the house. And so we're very reticent to talk about things like that, things about life insurance, things about making a plan for the future. So I'll be talking with a lot of folks, and I'll ask them, hey, okay, where are you guys at? Kind of what type of assets do you have? What have you created? People have launched businesses, or they're in the corporate world. They've contributed to a 401k or retirement account. They own a home and just different things like that. And I say, okay, God forbid, if you were to pass away, this is what would happen. There are 4 primary things that are downsides, I would say, to not having a plan. And so they say, I do have a plan. My plan is to do X, Y, Z thing. We have a will. I'm like, okay, that's better than nothing.
Right.
But let me tell you, if you don't have a will and you pass away, you go to probate court. If you do have a will and you pass away, you still go to probate court. And that shocks a lot of people because they assume that the will was the document you create and then all the problems are taken away if somebody dies.
Right.
And that's just not true. The will requires you to have to go to court. And so I'll tell them there's 4 main downsides to being in the probate court system. The first one is that it's expensive generally. On average, you're going to lose between 2 to 6% of your estate in probate court. Court fees, attorney's fees, executive fees, all sorts of different types of things. And then there's also the fact that it takes a long period of time. On average, you're probably going to look at a year to a year and a half. And if you have family members that kind of make it contentious and there's people contesting the will and things get a little bit ugly, it can take even longer. So that adds to why it can be so expensive. And then the other thing to talk about is that while you're in probate court, your assets are frozen. So I talk to a lot of families that have young kids, and one of the questions I'll ask is, hey, do you have somebody that can take care of your 2-3 kids? God forbid if something were to happen to you. And most people actually do have a plan, for that. Parents will take care, brother, sister, XYZ people will take care. Mm-hmm. Then I ask them, do they have the financial resources to take care of your kids for a year to a year and a half plus while you're in probate and your assets are frozen? And that's the question that'll get them. Because, we really don't think about these types of things as much as we should.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about probate, that's the second downside, I tell them. It takes a long time, and while you're in probate, the assets are frozen. The third downside that I tell them is that it is public. So right now it's Thursday, and you can go to Dallas County, Collin County, Tarrant County, whatever court website, and you can look up people who filed their will on Monday. It's all public record. Wow. You can see all of that information. It's all there. And so that's kind of scary, but ironically enough, what we've seen is it's not outsiders that generate problems. It's typically other family members that can see, oh, this brother got that. I was supposed to get this. That shouldn't go to that person. Yes. It just generates a lot of unnecessary drama, unfortunately. It can start to pull, just the wrong side of people out of them. So that's the third downside. And the last downside that I tell people, and it's especially valid with kids, families with young kids, is that if you have children that are under the age of 18, they're legal minors, and so they cannot inherit anything. So you might have a $2 million life insurance policy for your 2 kids, and they can't receive any of that because they're minors. However, the flip side is also true. As soon as they turn 18, they receive all of their inheritance in a lump sum. And so that's almost worse than them not getting anything. I haven't come across a parent that wants to give an 18-year-old $1 million in life insurance.
I since we're on that topic, I want to say not recently, about 2 years ago. No, it was 3 years. Oh my God, it was during COVID. It was during COVID. So I had a client that passed away, very young, in her 50s. She had 2 young daughters in their early 20s, 20 and 21. And her life insurance was for these 2 girls. Mm-hmm. And back then, they used to send the checks to the agents, and then you deliver it.
Yeah.
The day I was delivering the checks to them, I actually had both girls come to my office.
Oh my gosh.
I brought a financial advisor in. Mm-hmm. I brought a financial advisor in, and I said, legally I have to release the money. It's theirs, right? But I wanted to make sure, because the mother, she let her home cancel, she let her auto cancel, but she would call me every month. Did my life insurance money come out?
Yeah.
Did my life insurance money come out? And so she wanted to make sure those girls were taken care of, right? So I'm glad that you said that, because giving kids money at that age is
It's a scary endeavor. And so when I'm talking with families, they're like, no, I want to set it up that they can get a little bit at 25, 30, 35. And a lot of families are thinking about this intrinsically, but they don't realize that you can't do that without a trust. A will won't let you do that. If you don't have anything, the kids will just get all the money all at once. But a trust is the only way to, I call it giving what you want to who you want, when you want, the way you want.
Right.
And the trust is the only way that we can do that. So I've been on a really big campaign to just educate people, just in general, just so that they understand what actually is going to happen. Yeah. And so there are even a whole lot more other benefits to the trust. But if the only thing you were doing was avoiding probate and kind of creating a game plan for your kids, that is such a powerful one. And then even one last thing I'll add in is even kind of similar to that. One thing I always want to clarify is sometimes I'll have business owners or people who say, hey, I want to put all my assets in a trust so nobody can sue me and they'll be protected.
Yeah.
And I tell them, no, a trust doesn't give you legal protection from lawsuits. You use an LLC for that. You'll use other strategies for that. But the trust is primarily going to make sure that your assets are set up in a way to go to who you want, the way you want. Now, we can set it up that your kids, if they inherit from you, that inheritance can be protected. So, one of the other big concerns is that parents will pass on inheritance to their children. They might lose it in a lawsuit or divorce or something else like that. And there are actually strategies that we have to lock that money down and protect it from all of those situations. But really, these things get nuanced, and we just want our families to walk away with the understanding, hey, are we going to go through the probate court system? Do we have a plan in place? What's our game plan going forward? What's our strategy? So they walk away with confidence about what the next step is.
Right. I love that. And that's a big part of what I do when I sit down to do a consultation with my families. Even though I can't give legal advice or I can't give financial advice as a financial advisor, I do financial analysis because I have to.
Absolutely.
We're talking about life insurance. I need to know everything in order to do what's, to do you justice.
Absolutely.
But I want to segue into something you brought up about your formation of your business.
Yeah.
So you do formations. Is that something, if you have because there's so many people out there, they want to start a business and they don't know how. Yeah. So I'm assuming with your formation, you do give some advice and some consultation.
Yeah.
Should it be an S Corp? Should it be a C Corp? Things like that.
And that is some of my favorite information to talk about. So I have a YouTube channel called Uba Law Group, UBA Law Group, and I tell clients all the time, if you have a business question or entrepreneurship question, you type that question in and you type Uba Law Group at the end, I probably have a video on it.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Yeah, so we have over 400 videos on the channel, and I'm really, really big on the educational piece because exactly like you said, Sabrina, there's so many people that have great ideas. They want to launch something. They want to do something, even if it's a side hustle, something that has the potential to just grow additional income and just give them a little bit more stability and peace at home. But they're afraid of taking that first step forward because they don't know how to set it up the right way.
Yeah.
So we're really big on just providing that education and just taking away a lot of those things that intimidate us out of pursuing our dreams. So I'm really, really very meticulous. I don't like to use legalese. I want to speak plain English. I want you to feel empowered. Okay, this is the game plan. I'm going to do this and then that.
Right.
And so when it comes to setting up LLCs and business entities, I'm really, really passionate about it because when you know that you have a steady foundation and you're protected, you feel a little bit more confidence and just courage to let me try something new, let me try something different. Right. So the entity that most of my clients are going to be best served with is going to be an LLC. So an LLC stands for a limited liability company, of course, and it's the business entity that protects you. I tell my clients this all the time. Your LLC doesn't protect your business, your LLC protects you. In case something happens and there's a lawsuit, they can't get your personal assets. They can't get your car, your cash under the mattress, your whatever it is, you'll be protected. However, one of the main things I'm always preaching to my clients is that the LLC is more than just a piece of paper from the state. It's more than just a piece of paper from the state. I tell my clients that you don't want a paper LLC, you want a performing LLC. Because that performing LLC is what's going to give you that peace of mind. It's going to give you that confidence. And so, like I said, not going to put anybody to sleep with any legalese, Sabrina.
Right, no. But this is interesting to me because I'm like, a performing LLC or a paper? What's the difference? Because I have some LLCs that...
So we don't judge. We see a lot of paper LLCs. We actually created a whole division of our law firm called the LLC Rehab Division just to kind of fix those things up. Wow. Because, one of the things is so encouraging and frustrating is that a lot of people have great ideas or they'll have a service or a profession that they're good at, and we know how to do what we do, but we don't know how to manage a business. And a lot of times you talk to entrepreneurs, they're in year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 before they start to really realize, okay, this is the business part and this is how I function properly. Right. And so it's important to always kind of have someone on your side. So we try to do that from the legal perspective. But when it comes to creating that performing LLC, we tell people there's two pillars. They're your internal legal documents and your corporate formalities. Internal legal documents, corporate formalities. Now, your internal legal documents are things like your operating agreement, which is going to be the most important document in your LLC, your written consents, your resolutions. These are the things that lay out the powers and the protections in your business. Now, one of the things that I tell people is really, really great about Texas, where we are, is that Texas has laws in the books that are very favorable for business owners. So we create LLCs nationwide, but of course we have an emphasis in Texas. And when I'm creating my Texas companies for clients, there are additional protections that I can bake into their documents that you can't get in most other states because those states don't have the laws on the books.
Right.
However, it doesn't just come automatically. You actually have to draft them into the actual internal documents for your company. So that's kind of like the general overview when we say the internal legal documents. There's so much we can get into, but that's the big picture.
Right.
Now, the other side of that coin were your corporate formalities. So we call corporate formalities the procedures, the protocols, and the practices that you do in your business on a day-in, week-in, year-in basis. So this is how you actually show that you're running your company like a legitimate company. So, for example, making sure you have your proper accounts and that they're adequately capitalized. Making sure you're keeping up with your annual or quarterly or monthly business meeting and minutes, depending on the growth of your company. Right. So if you're a $2-3 million company, I want to see that you're meeting at least quarterly. Number one, just for the growth of the business and strategy and different things like that. Mm-hmm. But number two, it helps paper your file like we talk about. Yeah. And then on top of that, you want to make sure you keep up with state compliance, franchise tax. We want to make sure that we're not commingling funds, which is a huge one for business owners, especially single member LLCs. They think, oh, me and the business is the same thing. It is not the same thing. No. You and the business are separate legal entities. You must treat it separately. Otherwise, and the whole reason why this is important is that if you're not keeping up with your corporate formalities, the court can hold you personally responsible. It's called piercing the corporate veil. They pretty much say, hey, Saluto, you're not even acting like your LLC is a separate deal. You're acting like it's just a part of yourself. So we're going to hold you personally responsible for that lawsuit. You don't get LLC protection anymore.
Wow.
And that's the thing.
I didn't know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I've got stories, but I had a client during COVID. He was leasing an office building. Of course, it's COVID. No one's downtown anymore. But his name, his business name was on the lease, but he wasn't operating his business the right way. So they held him personally liable for that lease, and they came after him for tens of thousands of dollars. So he actually wasn't a client. He came to me talking about the situation, and I had to explain, this is why we create a performing LLC, so people don't get put in situations like this. Right. But yeah, so a little while ago, I said that you don't want to have a paper LLC, but one of the big things I emphasize to people is that you want to leave a paper trail. We want you to have documents, we want you to have records, we want you to have evidence showing that, hey, Sabrina has been running her company legit from the beginning. So, God forbid there ever is a lawsuit or legal action, but we tell our folks there's a big difference between showing up in court with just a piece of paper from the state versus you having your full corporate binder from the past 5-10 years stacked with all of your documentation. That's when you can slam that down on the table and know that, hey, you can't come after my personal assets. The business is going to protect me. Right. So that's, as you can tell, I am a little bit passionate about that.
You're very passionate.
because it's really important.
Yes,
there's nothing.
Very passionate.
There's nothing like getting a letter from a court or just having a notice served to you that you've been served in a lawsuit.
Right.
That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And I was just had a consultation earlier this week with a client that had that happen twice in the past 3 months. Wow. But when your business is set up the right way, it's still going to be stressful. It's no one wants to experience, but there's a big difference between it's you personally versus my business is going to protect me.
Yeah.
So that's a part of what we get into on a regular basis for clients.
Well, two things. I love the way you explained all of that because I just went through all of that myself, right? And I know, yes, I need this and I need that and I have to have the When I found out I needed operating agreements, I know what it is and I know it's important, but I didn't know the
Yeah.
importance, right? I didn't know why. Okay, I need it. Okay, yeah, because I want to be legal.
Yeah.
I want to make sure everything's legal.
What does it
So,
really do?
right. What is it? What is? Why do I need
Yeah.
this? Like, can you leave that off?
Yeah.
Maybe, and everybody's looking for a little cut here and a little cut there. Maybe it'll be cheaper. No, if I do all of this is what it's going to be, So I love that you explain that. I love your passion about this because that's important.
Yeah.
But most of all, I think the reason you and I connected is because of the education piece.
Absolutely.
As most of you know, I own an insurance agency and it's based on education.
Mm.
Here at this beautiful studio we're in, I'm educating clients how to do videos, how to get their ads out there, how to create content. So it's all of this stuff is education.
Yeah.
It's what I give. This is what I love to do.
Absolutely.
So I love that we have that in common. I think the last thing I want to segue into is you talk about all this consultation and all the advice you give your clients. Do you have partnerships with people in different professions, or do you have the resources to directly send them when it's something you can't do?
Yeah, so I'm so glad you brought up something that you can't do. Just even apart from the legal professional side, as a business owner, one of the things I had to become comfortable with was, number one, having an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset,
Right.
and realize that there are some things that I said, that's not my ministry. Like, that's not the area of law that I'm proficient at. That's not the area of law I like to practice, and I can connect you with somebody else. And realizing that that is a strength and that's a benefit to be able to tie and bring the right people together is extremely important. So yes, we partner with a number of professionals, both other attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I listed is pretty much what I do. And if it's not under my wheelhouse of the business law, the estate planning, the trademarks, I probably won't take on that assignment. And that's a freedom that I have to be able to say, no, I don't do that, but let me give you the personal introduction.
You have
to
trusted
XYZ
people
person.
that can do it, yes.
Oftentimes I'll talk with a lot of young attorneys and, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then you're stressed out and you're not probably getting compensated enough for it, and you're not operating with the spirit of excellence because that is not your area of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being able to, I know this wasn't the heart of the question, but
Yeah.
I love being able to emphasize that to people. It is okay to say no. In many instances, it's
Right.
preferable to say no.
Yes.
So yes, but we do work with professionals. We work with other attorneys. We work with other service providers. I call it my power team. We want clients to have a good insurance agent. We want clients to have a good financial advisor, a good accountant, a good life coach, whatever. And so we have, just different people that we continue to work with. And of course, just being a hub to my clients and saying, hey, I don't do that, but I can connect you with that person. Even one of the things that we started incorporating is just more day-to-day practical assistance. Are you going on vacation? Do you guys have a big milestone anniversary? I have a good travel agent that I can connect you with. I've got a plumber or an electrician, because these are the types of things that life is about.
Right.
I was talking to another client about estate planning, and we talked earlier, and I asked, hey, how's your grandson doing? And you talk to grandparents about the consultation almost went a whole different direction. We almost didn't even talk about anything legal but that's the stuff that life is about.
Yes.
I love having a law firm. I love what I do, but this is a means to an end. I do this for my family.
Right.
I'll do this so I can be the type of dad that I want to be with my kids and have more time. And so people, they're running their businesses and their companies and their entrepreneurship, but most people are just trying to take care of their family and provide for their community and different things like that. So I want to tap into that and really kind of think through, what is your real motivator? Because when we know that, then I know how to connect you with the right people to put you in front of. And so all that being said, yes, so we partner with different professionals because the business owner is a multifaceted person and I don't have all the solutions for them. Yeah. So I make it kind of my job to, hey, let me strengthen relationships to people that I can personally hand off clients to and know that they're going to be taken care of.
That's the one thing that I love about my culture, in my work culture and my professional culture. And when I hire people that will fit into that culture.
Indeed, very important.
Because that's how we connect. So I have people calling me for things that is not in my field. Calling me, asking me mortgage questions. Well, I'm not. There are certain things I can't say, but I can direct you to the right person, or I can help you with something. I have clients that bring in mails. Honey, can you help me with this? And so I train my staff to do the same thing. And yes, we're business owners, but at the end of the day, we're human beings.
Indeed.
And another human being love to be asked, like you said, how was your grandkid? How was your day? How was the vacation? What did you guys do this weekend? Did you guys take the boat out? Things like that. When you connect with your clients, they will remember to call you when they need something.
Absolutely.
Whether it's in your field or not.
Absolutely.
And that's the feel good. And I love that we connected in that way.
Absolutely.
I love to connect with people that are on that level.
Yep.
Because then we have the same mindset.
Absolutely.
When it comes to others.
And it's freeing, and that's why one of the things that I always try to talk to when I'm talking to a new business owner or even another attorney, kind of what is your mindset coming from? Do you have a mindset of scarcity where I have to kind of hoard everything and everything is self-focused? Or can you walk in with a spirit of excellence and serve people? And, you go to a meeting, you think about, hey, pray about how can I help this person, whatever it is, and really be in the position to, hey, I'm going to be a benefit and a blessing. Of course, I want the business, but if it doesn't come, my goal is still to help you anyway, so my mission is still accomplished.
Exactly.
And so it's a game changer because it'll reframe how you walk into conversations and situations, and it's just really allows you to operate with a joyful spirit and a heart about what you're doing, because what you're doing is tied into your calling, your purpose, and what you're here for.
Right. So I think the last thing before we come up to a close is you talk about your YouTube channel and educating people out there. Do you get on stages? Do you get in front of small groups? And if you do, what are you looking for in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I've been told is that you turn this into plain English and you make it easier to understand. And that I really appreciate when people say that, because that is a goal, but it is something that comes a little bit more naturally to me. So I do like being on stages and speaking at conferences or just speaking at different local organizations, just to bring a lot of this stuff into plain English and make it accessible. I don't want people to feel intimidated as starting a business, or if they need to create a will or a trust or a trademark, whatever. I want them to understand, hey, this is the education behind it, and this is how you can make your next action step. So I'm always looking for opportunities to speak at events, conferences, different professional organizations, groups, non-profits, and different things like that. So I actually have a few opportunities this month and some into next year, but I'm always looking to connect with people and just kind of be that resource to different groups. So yes.
And you said nonprofits, so you do work with nonprofits a lot?
Yes, we work with a few nonprofits. We're actually trying to strengthen that part because there is a lot of need out there, obviously. And one of the things that we like to do is see, hey, how can I synergize with the business? They're in this area. Yeah, you can probably connect with that nonprofit, and y'all can go on and accomplish whatever that goal is. So yes, we are open, and we're in the community trying our best to serve as best we can.
Okay. Before we end today, is there anything else you would like to share with the audience?
How much time do you have, Sabrina?
Hey, I have all day. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, it's one of the things that I always like to walk away with, talking to business owners. I forgot who told me this, but it's a quote that sticks with me all the time. And he was trying to just kind of wake me up, because I was like, oh, how is this going to work? I had a friend who told me there are people who are dumber than you, who are way more successful than you, because they had the audacity to believe in themselves. So whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. It's going to take work. It's going to take connecting with people, but you can accomplish that thing. Right. Don't let analysis paralysis slow you down. Don't let having to be perfect stop you. Another quote I love to tell people is that done is better than perfect.
Right.
Oftentimes we have a model in our head of how it's supposed to look, and we can never meet that model, so we don't do anything. Right. And there are people who will do it imperfectly, and they'll learn on the way, and they'll get better, and they'll accomplish their dreams. So you can do it, whatever it is. Make sure you get the right people around you, and even if you don't have all the answers, you are probably closer to someone that has the answers that you need than you know. So you got to ask.
You just ask.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How can the audience reach you if they want to get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you so much. So we are Uba Law Group, pretty much on everything. So if you go to Facebook, you can search Uba Law Group or Saluto Uba. If you go to YouTube, you can type in Uba Law Group. You can go directly to our website at ubalawgroup.com, ubalawgroup.com, and you can book an appointment, and we were more than happy to serve. And like I said, if we don't have what you need, I can almost definitely connect you to somebody that does. So always feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, educating people out there. But most of all, I've learned some things today too.
That's good. So
thank you.
Wonderful.
Guys, all of Uber's information or Saluto's information is going to be on the bottom of this video. So please, if you need to get in contact with him, reach out to him. Or if you want to just call me. A lot of you love to call me for references first before you reach out to my guests. But I love to say that the guests that I have on my show are people that I use personally or I will use personally if I have not yet. So always feel free to just reach out directly to them. Again, this is Sabrina Hussein, and you are watching Coffee with Sabrina, and we are here at the beautiful Brasilia Studios once again. Until next time, bye-bye.